Hello, Vankahs. We are back.
Yeah, baby. What's up, Vankas?
Greetings, Vankahs. Yeah, baby, we're back because Formula One is back, dude. Guenther, how has your month been?
I was super clipping, in the time we didn't. I was, that is what you do when you're not flat out. You're clipping, right. Super clipping, whatever, And now I'm fully
recharging.
Charged. I'm recharged now fully, completely ready to go. Baby. Yeah.
These batteries are recharged, but they're not as recharged as they used to be because guess what? We're recharging less. We're recharging less because there has been a huge shakeup in the Formula One world. We're going to be discussing that today. We're going to be doing a Miami preview. We're also going to be discussing back tax in Italy. If anyone knows about the Italian government, it's one Guenther Steiner. So much to discuss in this episode of Vankah Hours. And boys, we have an announcement to make. We have a new media partner, babies. Vox Media Podcast Network. Red Flags and Vankah Hours is now the newest member of the Vox Media empire. And we couldn't be more excited. Isn't that right, gentlemen?
That's right.
Absolutely.
We're big time now. This is where thought leaders go to do podcasts, Guenther.
That's right. Guenther, you're a thought leader.
Thought about what? Anything.
Anything.
Your thoughts,
anything, yeah.
Guenther, your thoughts lead the conversation.
As long as we are leaders, I'm happy. And we are with the leaders, so we are in the right place, So we will be leading.
That's right. Let's live up to the expectations and let's get to this podcast. Before we do that, cue the music.
No Fox smash, my dog. I'm gonna fucking Steiner and I'm back for more. No Fox smash, my dog. I've got the fucking Steiner and it's time for
And we're back. Okay, gentlemen, let's talk about the big news from this time off. These new adjustments to the regulations. A lot of things have happened, Guenther, over the break. The FIA met with all the powers that be, the stakeholders. We've come up with some solutions. As Toto Wolff said, let's not take a baseball hat to the regulations. Let's do it with a scalpel. What are your impressions of these new regulations, Guenther?
Yeah, I first go to Toto, to his opinion. Obviously, he doesn't want a baseball bat because he's pretty happy with the rules, That is why he doesn't. It's about him here,
Yeah,
so don't leave the baseball bat at home, Get the scalpel out because we are pretty fine. So anyway, but the other 10. They couldn't care less if there's a baseball bat coming, So, but anyway, anyway, what do I think about it? Obviously, something needed to be done. Mm-hmm. I think will it be what needed to be done? Will it be what we expect from it? We will find out only this weekend in Miami. So we have to wait for that. But I think listening and hearing what is done, it should work, that we are back to that the overtaking is not just down to your battery charge, but it's down to who drives fastest in a turn, who can use the car best, So I don't think we have to explain to people in F1 what was wrong. Obviously to admit something is wrong is always difficult, but at least they admit it and working on it to get it back that all the fans are happy again, because some fans actually, they don't mind if the overtaking is on the straights, but some people, people which really understand Formula One, they want to see the skills of the drivers. They want to see the overtaking, who is braking later, who is earlier on the gas, who is taking a different line just to get by the other one. That was not happening anymore because everybody was recharging in the corners, So, and if you're recharging, you cannot overtake. So, I think there is adjustments made, and which should make it better for what I hear the adjustments are made. And my biggest question is always, why was that not predictable before? Because Formula One, to be honest, is very good in simulating, predicting stuff like this, and it wasn't done.
Why don't you think they did it? Why do you think they so? Did you hear about these problems because they did this 5 years ago? You were in the sport. Did you hear about these problems when they were coming up the pike?
No, 5 years ago there was the decision to take the MGUH out. Because Audi came in as a new manufacturer, and Audi was worried because the other teams had so much experience, because the MGUH, MGUK technology was just very complex, and as you can see, when it came in, it took quite a few years to get on top of it, and Audi was worried that they couldn't get straight away onto that technology, and they wanted to that one gone. And to get Audi in, that was agreed to. And I think at the time, it was not discussed so much the detail of it. How much is the electric energy? How much is the combustion engine energy percentage on the power, And that came later. So, but I think there was always discussions. And they started when I was still there. The people said, like places like Spa and Monza, you will have clipping on the straight because you don't have enough energy. But nobody was going down there really, doing the hard work and coming back with real data, really putting effort in. It was more like, okay, and everybody's busy in doing what they're doing for that season. So yeah, it is mentioned, but nobody is putting a task force behind it to fight it, And then obviously we came out this year and it wasn't perfect. I think normally this should have happened last year to see what actually is happening with simulation.
So you put it down to procrastination. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's like, okay, nobody's listening. Yeah. It's in the end, even in Formula One, some things are very simple. If nobody listens, I mean, okay, I don't shout anymore. I get on with my day job, So, and everybody just hopes it will be fine and procrastinates until it goes wrong. And then, and I wouldn't say goes wrong, and it isn't as what you expect it to be.
Well, there was a little bit. Max Verstappen was talking a few years ago about him doing simulator runs and saying this is not going to be it. But that's a guy who doesn't procrastinate. That's a guy who's always doing his homework, as they say. But I guess there was a little bit of awareness that this might be a problem because they put in these kind of movable parts of the dial was able to be moved a bit. I guess the question that remains in front of us is, did they move the dials enough? Or do they need to come in with a baseball bat, or are we going to get more of the same? I guess you're saying wait and see. Do you have a impulse as to which one it's going to be?
I think it will be all right, but will it be perfect? Maybe not. I don't think with what is there, because I think and again, perfect. Will it be back to what it was? I think one of the things would be to again increase the power which comes from the combustion engines. But guess what? There is not enough fuel in the car to do that in the moment, and to you need a bigger fuel tank, and that needs a new chassis, and that cannot be done this year. That could be done for next year. But again, some people don't want to do that because they are pretty happy where they are with the technology they develop, So it's not like that everybody says we want to change it, So, but there is things going back to your question. The balancing out how much you can recoup and how much you can use energy. It's pretty easy. Just let people use less electric energy, so you have got it available a longer time. It's nothing else. Right. But obviously the lap time will go up because the cars will not go slower. They will have a higher lap time. But who actually is interested in the lap time?
Right. What a beautiful way of saying that, Guenther. They're not slower, just
they're not slower on the straight. They are not slower on the straight.
That's right.
Still going maximum speed.
I think that people don't really care that much about losing a second of lap time if we can see hard racing, and if we can see flat out and them not slowing down at the end of too many straights, because it seems like there's still going to be a little bit of slowing down, but as long as they can push it to the limit, that's what people care about the most. The other big question coming out of this is, they've made these adjustments now. We have Miami coming up. Who do you think is going to benefit the most from these adjustments? Who do you think is going to benefit the most from this time off? Obviously, Mercedes had, a grip on the championship going into this race. Do you think that this shakeup changes anything?
I think the biggest advantage in theory should have the teams which are not a manufacturer, because they had time to understand the PU better. You know, like it happened with McLaren. They started off not so good and they recovered pretty good in Japan, because they learned about how to utilize the PU best. I think these teams will have the biggest advantage, but also the manufacturers, they will have been on the dynos, you know, on the these dynos they've got in the factory. They can simulate a race with a real car on there. So they can actually not only using data to make a simulation, they can use the hardware to make the simulation. And that's what they will have done, you know, and all the manufacturer teams have got these dynos now in their factories. So they will have made progress. So I don't know how much progress they will share with their customer teams, but I think everybody, like every time in Formula One and in every time of motorsport, you say, oh, we need more testing. Guess what? Everybody goes testing and everybody goes 2/10 faster after test. So who has got the advantage? Nobody really, because everybody's now prepared well enough to make progress, you know, and sometimes somebody does a better job than another one, but that we will find out. But I think McLaren will, I think they will make because they've got a good power unit. They are known to be able to make good cars, so they can get it together now. I think they will have the biggest advantage.
Right. But certain teams, it's interesting. Certain teams are known to be better in season development. So for whatever reason, and McLaren has proven that they are really good at developing a car in season. Ferrari has proven less good.
The opposite
in season. Yeah.
they start
come
out
in
strong.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come in they come in rock hard and they get softer as the day goes on, you know, whereas, you know, the other way, it needs a little fluffing, but once it's going, it's that McLaren, it's you know,
it's
call your doctor after 4 hours, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. But you're just using the last 2 years.
Welcome, Vox Media Partners.
Data.
We love Vox Media. We're thought leaders. We're thought leaders here at Vankah Hours.
We apologize for Brian Muller's words here. You know, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the language used in this podcast, but we try to get him better.
Why wouldn't we use the last 2 years as an indicator as opposed to decades ago?
Because it is a new regulation again on the last regulation, because I think McLaren understood the last regulations very much, you know, and that doesn't mean that you that it's a given that you understand this one as good as the last one, you know. The ground effect obviously was McLaren's, you know, strength. Like
and it took them years. Yeah, like they weren't fast. In 2022, 2023, it took them a couple of years.
Yeah, they came out in 24. All of a sudden, they knew exactly what to look for. And that's why I say it's difficult to say. And it's a little bit early as well to see who is doing what. Right.
Well, it seems like the aero can be a bit of their game. That, you know, like the last reg was all aero, right? Like it was we were never talking about the engines. We were always talking about the ground effect. They were aero dominant. But in theory, McLaren have that Mercedes engine. If they can figure that out, if they can figure that thing out, and they can get their chassis and their aero package to be as strong as it was, then they'll be there. Now there is a question around. Because one of the other new bits of regulation is a minimum power level at the starts, that they want to mitigate the danger, because obviously the Behrman crash really accelerated this whole, you know, no pun intended there, really accelerated this whole thing, because they want to make sure that these cars are safe and that there's not a huge delta when it comes to closing speeds, but that also at the starts, that's a big issue. We saw how many cars have we seen get really slow starts off the line, and Ferrari was one of the teams that was really benefiting from these new regs when it came to the starts. Do you think that this adjustment to make sure that the cars are not that slow at the start will kind of chew into Ferrari's advantage?
No, I don't think so, because Ferrari's advantage comes from the combustion engine, and at the start the problem was that some people or some of the drivers, they forgot to charge the battery on the way to the grid, you know, so their battery wasn't completely charged, and I think they just want to make sure now that everybody getting somehow to have control, and otherwise if somebody is not charged at the maximum, it's like they have to what we call it, abandon the start. They have to because it can be dangerous if somebody doesn't get off. I mean, we all know that one. So I think there is two different things, but I don't think that Ferrari will lose that advantage, because all the other ones, what you do normally, your battery is fully charged, but there was a risk that somebody didn't, some of these drivers maybe were looking at something else, going around on the installation lab, and forgot to charge it, or something was wrong on the car. So they want to make sure that all the batteries are fully charged when they get to the start. But I think the Ferrari, because their combustion engine, obviously with their apparently smaller turbocharger, it's got that small advantage at the start.
Okay, good. Because that's been the best part of this season so far, has been watching the Mercedes, watching the Ferrari. Exactly. If we don't have that, what do we have this year? I need to make sure that Charles Leclerc can go from fourth to first at the start of any race.
And
that is what has made this season.
Antonelli go backwards every time from the front row. But it's interesting. We talk, like, there's a lot of criticism about these regs, about how artificial it was. Is this reminiscent of the DRS, or is this way worse than the DRS? Like, why are people wanting to go back to the good old days of DRS when it was conceptually just as artificial? You're getting overtakes on the straights where one guy has a weapon and the other guy doesn't, and it has nothing really to do with driver's skill. How come we're harkening back to the DRS days? Can you explain that to me?
Human beings, nobody wants change. That's what it is. It's bigger than that one. I mean, when DRS came along, everybody hated DRS. Now everybody wants DRS, People just don't want to change things because they're used to it. They like it. They get to like it. And but it's for this regulation. They're tweaking them now. And at some stage, this is what it will be. And we get used to it and we like it, It's such a big change that people, I mean, if you expect people to be happy with such a big change straight away, it's not going to happen whatever you do. I mean, we are all humans, and like you say, how much criticism was when DRS came along? Or it was like, this is changing, or when sprint races came along, changing the DNA and changing this, and now it's like, it's part of the DNA. DNA changes as well over time, So it's just like, people don't like change in general, and am I saying this regulation is perfect? No. I mean, not that, because that's the next thing you accuse me of, you two guys, but there is room for improvement, and
we're going to accuse you of. We're going to accuse you of tax fraud later.
Yeah, that's right. We'll get into tax fraud in a second. You wouldn't say this regulation is perfect. That's your boy, Stefano Domenicali. He's been doing a podcast tour saying, nothing to see here. Everything's amazing. You all should shut up.
So he's doing a podcast tour, and he didn't come to us. You know why? Because he's scared that we don't believe him, So he's bailing out.
He thinks he can do the race because he knows it's going to be a softball interview. If he comes to the gauntlet with the thought leaders at Vox Media Podcast with Vankah, that's where he knows he's going to get a real grilling.
If he comes to the top, he will not survive. So that is. I will tell him that in Miami.
What was so funny? He goes, I don't see any problems with the sport, and then. I think it was S3E4 asked him of the race. He asked him, well, if you did have problems, would you admit it? And he was like, no. But he said he would say so internally, right? That's why he was critical of the drivers, right? Because the drivers are airing the dirty laundry, right? He would never admit publicly that there was a problem. So it's like S3E4 completely exposed him for like having zero credibility. It's like, well, if you did have a problem, you wouldn't fucking tell us anyway. So why are we listening to you?
Yeah, but that is pretty normal in the corporate world, If there is a problem and you deny it, that means there is a problem,
Right.
If you admit it, then you don't have a problem because you're going to sort it, So I think it's a difficult place to be because there is a lot of criticism. But some of the people, honestly, I met, which are not, they watch F1, but are not in, they said, it's nice now that people overtake. Obviously, I'm not going there to explain them why they overtake now, because then I confuse the shit out of them,
Right,
but for them, this is overtaking now. They don't look in is it a battery charge? But the people which complain is the people which are I wouldn't say hardcore fans, but they are fans which understand the sport, which are watching since a long time, and it has changed how things are done in the moment. I mean, nobody can be denial of that one. I mean, that would be saying, oh, nothing has changed. It's fantastic. No, it's fantastic, but something has changed.
Well, we touched on something kind of interesting here that we're watching kind of play out in real time, which is ways of doing business almost. And what Stefano how he wants to do business is, let's handle this all behind closed doors, but public facing, we're a united front. That's what he wants it to be, right? But but obviously so much of this and so much of the noise around this is because the drivers are supremely dissatisfied with what's happening. Even Lando Norris, who started out the season saying they're great, at the end he was like, I mean, why even drive these things? He had an interview recently that his team came in to cut short, can't talk about the regs. There was other things that had nothing to do with the regs they were kind of muzzling him, it felt like. Obviously Max Verstappen has been like the most vocal, but even Fernando Alonso has talked about it. Then George Russell's accusing Max Verstappen of he just don't like it because you suck right now. And if you were in a good car, you wouldn't be saying shit. I think it's a kind of interesting thing to watch happen is how Formula One, all the different arms of it, are handling a little bit of this crisis. And I guess, you're friends with him. You understand the position that he's in. I guess from a fan's perspective, when he comes out and says like everything's perfect, when you're seeing like Max Verstappen's like, I'm going to quit, it feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect. I guess my real question is, Guenther, is like, it's a difficult thing to do, but how can Formula One get everyone onto the same page here so that there isn't this, if chaotic family drama happening on the public stage here? How can they make everyone feel heard, seen, understood?
Happy, loved. So I think we need to start with Stefano. In these things, he's the master of it, to bring people together. He always tries to work with everyone. What happened here? Some of his people he normally manages pretty well escaped and opened the mouth, Because what Stefano, if we think that he is not working on fixing, because Stefano is in racing since as long as I'm in racing, he understands it perfectly, So. But he needs to fix it. He's the man who needs to fix it because nobody else will fix it. He will fix it. And obviously, in the time he takes to fix, he needs to keep everything calm. Not everyone, but everything. And obviously, that didn't happen because...
Omerta.
Not Omerta. Exactly,
Omerta.
Omerta. So, not Omerta, but fix it, and then nobody... It's a little bit like Omerta. But
I know, what is that? What is that?
It's mafia. It's what the mafia refers
Code
to
of
as
silence.
Code of silence.
Code of
I
silence.
see. Okay.
You don't say anything about your clique, basically.
Yeah.
Never take sides against... Never, as they said in the comment, never take sides against the family.
Take sides against the family.
Yeah. So somebody in the family was unhappy because they had shit results, and opened his mouth, So again, being selfish, and who has to fix it? Stefano. But again, there is only he can fix it, and obviously in public he cannot come out and explain all this story, So, but in the end, I believe that. It is fixable, and I think he will be as much disappointed as maybe we as spectators that it went this far. They could have, as I said in the beginning, why wasn't it looked in last year? And he will be like, why did we not look in last year? I mean, he will be the same. But in the end, he needs to keep a positive outlook on it to be able to fix it. If he now throws more fuel in the fire, and that doesn't help. And if there is one master in navigating that, it's him. Because
you could argue it's a bit of a Streisand effect, though, by muzzling everybody and saying you don't have a problem. You're causing.
Right. He's not muzzling anybody. He said he hasn't got a problem, but everybody still speaks. So he's not muzzling them, or at least he's not achieving to to not make them speak.
I guess to this feels also like a little bit like old school, new school, a little bit. And I think like as a younger generation who all went to therapy, even though obviously, Guenther, of course, we know that you don't need therapy. Of course, you don't need it. And of course, none of the boomers that are running Formula One, none of them need therapy. But what someone who was in therapy might say is that the first step to solving a problem is admitting that there is a problem. And I guess a little bit what the tactic that's happening right now is that some people are like screaming, this is the worst thing ever. And then other sides are saying there's no problem here. And maybe, I guess my therapy brain says we got to admit that there is a problem in order to solve it. But maybe, yeah, anyway.
But that's done behind closed doors. Because obviously, if they come out and change the regulation for Miami,
they're
something has been done.
There's admitting there's a problem. They had meetings for changing shit.
Not publicly.
But some
they are
hardcore
admitting
fans
that we are working on it. That is, it's not a problem. It's an issue which we are working on it.
Yeah. Right, but the hardcore
it's not a problem.
fans,
It's an issue. They're not going slower. It's the lap times increasing. This is this is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I love
it. What Murda? He was the greatest guy around. Okay. Now I want to ask you, how do you think Bernie would have handled this shit?
Well, he was the opposite, right? He was always just like saying everything sucks. It's like he was like had the complete opposite ethos of Stefano.
He would make these changes, right? When the lap time, what he really cared about the lap time is when the lap times were too slow, he was like, fuck this. And he would just make changes, right? He would say that the things sucked and he would do something about it, whether it was good or bad.
But it was a different sport when Bernie were around. You were not around when Bernie were around. It was different. There was not this many people.
No one was around when Bernie was around. The guy's like 150 years old.
I was around. It was different, I think also from a technology-wise, you could make easier changes. I mean, this is very sophisticated. Everything is more complex now. I mean, why you think Bernie's not around anymore? Because everything changed, including him. By the way, because otherwise Formula One would have stayed what it was, and you guys wouldn't be sitting here, and we wouldn't have a podcast, just going back to that one, because he hated social media, So, again, maybe we would have the fastest cars with a V10 engine, but nobody would watch it maybe. Or not nobody. He did a great job, I mean, I'm a big fan of Bernie, but obviously we all come to a point where, new people need to take over, and that is the new generation. That is you people now, basically fucked up Formula One. It was perfect when Bernie was here at my generation. Now it's back to you guys. It's your fault.
Oh please! It was in pursuit of big manufacturers. Stop blaming the fucking fans. It was in pursuit of big business and the C-suite.
You too, not the fans. No. No.
Just us. Oh, you mean literally Matt and I? Okay, interesting.
Personally.
All right.
Personally.
Let's. We can stay on the regs, but let's talk about Miami. This is a big reset moment. We've got even before the season started, or like during the beginning of the season, before they made these reg changes, it was about Miami's going to be like a new season. New day, new dawn.
This is before we were super clipping, because we were super clipping to get ready again for Miami.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's also a sprint weekend. They're giving them a little bit more time in FP1 to figure out everything that's different here. But what are your impressions going into this weekend? Who do you think is going to have an edge? What do you look for in the Miami track? What can we expect?
I think we can still expect Mercedes to be up front. I think McLaren will they show progress in Japan. They will keep on making progress as well, And I don't know what to expect from. It was a month, how much. Obviously, people were working hard on it, and a month is a long time in F1, So it's and then there was the. Not going to two races, you save your money in the budget cap, and you can do things for the car you hadn't planned to do because you were on the budget cap. So all of a sudden you had more money available to make upgrades or to make changes to the cars. So I think like teams like Williams, which obviously were overweight, but it's difficult to upgrade. They now had the chance to do something if they did a good job. So you don't know what to expect because they were a low performer, because it's easy to, if they are 30 kilos too heavy, that's a second of lap time, So obviously, I don't think they can get 30 kilos off in a month, but they can get maybe 15 off, things like this. So in there is some things which can change. Other people will have seen solutions on other cars which they try to replicate and see if they work on their car. So, but in general, I think Mercedes will have the edge.
What about Red Bull? Got to ask. People are wondering, will Max be able to enter the chat in any way? Because they're overweight too. You think they'll be able to make a leap?
They will make a leap because they are so well structured. If they've got the money, if they found they've got the money. They just needed money in the budget cap, and they now found savings. Not going to 2 races, that's saving in parts and pieces, and for sure they've put that one in because getting weight off, it's easy performance and it's always there. It's not like when you develop aero, you don't really know what you get. I mean, you should know what you get, but it's not always 100%. While weight is. It's pretty simple. It's there.
Apparently, Red Bull is bringing a massive upgrade, near new car, side pods, front wing, engine cover, rear wing, including an aggressive new low drag concept. And they're apparently, bringing one of the biggest upgrades on the how you know what those parts are and what those signify. How big an upgrade is that?
I think if you say a low drag, I think they changed the strategy. I think they need a low drag for this engine regulation. They, seeing the car out there, it is better to invest in low drag than in high downforce, because anyway, you don't need the high downforce in the corners because you're anyway going slow to recharge the batteries. So it's more gain, and that is, I think a lot of people found that one out in the first 3 races, what to do, which direction to develop in, and that's what they will have done. And that is, but I think they still have got a little bit of a disadvantage because it's the first year they have got their own power unit, and to catch up with people like Mercedes on power unit, you cannot expect to come in new and be at the level of them guys.
Well, there was other news over this break involving Red Bull, which is that GP Gianpiero Lambiase has been poached. Another one down. Another Red Bull senior person heading over to Woking. What are your thoughts on that new acquisition by Zach Brown?
I think McLaren is doing a good job there, just looking into the future. Not only in the imminent future, but also in the mid to long term one. To get people like GP in there for sure strengthens the team. Will Courtney will be starting soon, or has started already. I don't know if he started already. This is all good people which have got a lot of experience and are on top of their job. And I think Zach remember his time when he took over McLaren. And his biggest weakness was he didn't have enough good people there. And he just now makes sure that he always has got good people there, which can, as a team, work together and always be strong.
From a management standpoint, Zach's CEO, he does sort of the more front-facing stuff, the obviously brand partnerships and media stuff. Stella was going to run the team. That was sort of our understanding. And now he's bringing GP in to also run. How does this jibe for you? This management structure?
I think I understand where Zach is thinking. You need just to have more because these teams get bigger, the sport gets bigger. You need just more focus on certain aspects. And maybe Andrea cannot do that job all anymore because he was doing chief team principal and chief race engineer. That was his old job before being promoted to team principal. And maybe it was said, okay, we need to go back to be future proof, to have more people working on specific jobs. We cannot have Andrea spread out too thin, Because Andrea will need to go more into this team principal job where he needs to be more the strategy for the future, the politics, all that stuff, and cannot dedicate his time being a chief race engineer anymore. And that's what he needs to do. And I think that is what they try to do with GP. And for GP is maybe a way out of a way up from what he's doing at Red Bull now. And he doesn't see that opportunity at Red Bull and says, I take that one at McLaren. They propose me the good thing.
Okay, well, so let's discuss that element of it. Now, at this point, the bank that was the talent pool at Red Bull has been almost fully robbed at this point by McLaren. How does Red Bull keep letting their top people get poached like this? Do you think that this is a little bit of a failure to not promote internally? And if GP wanted a higher position, did Red Bull screw up by not offering him a way up within the company?
Well, I think with if you see a lot of these F1 teams, is cyclical or cyclical?
Cyclical,
Cyclical. And they had a lot of success. The success goes away. Adrian leaves. Other people leave, and they say, "Hey, in the moment we are still doing good. Now it's an opportunity to go somewhere else, which seems to be doing good for the future. Let's go there until when my value is high." When I can ask money, when I can ask position. If I stay with Red Bull and they keep on declining, in 2 years, maybe nobody wants me and I'm forced to stay here. It's the opportunities come along when you are successful, not when you're not successful, So I think it's just like happening all the time, and Red Bull will then go back and restructure themselves again and start to poach from other teams again and build themselves up again. And it goes again around in a circle. But it all started, I think, last year when Adrian left, and then Jonathan left, and then Christian Voss left, and all that stuff, and people just follow things like this.
Okay, well, I completely forgot about this element of things. We got to talk to you about Jonathan Wheatley and Audi.
Oh my God.
And Adrian Newey at Aston Martin, that whole chaos, Adrian's was team principal. Then he's saying, I'm actually not going to be. And then there's all these, rumors, some people reporting it's happening, and that Jonathan Wheatley's going to take the place. Then all of a sudden, your other boy, Mattia Binotto, there's rumors that he and Wheatley are fighting. Then Wheatley leaves. What do you make of that whole situation over there? What are we to believe about what's going on with Jonathan Wheatley?
I think Jonathan has left because they announced a new replacement for Jonathan at Audi.
We know he's left, but he's going to. He's going to Aston Martin, is he not?
I think he's going to Aston Martin. It's pretty obvious. Maybe for legal reasons they cannot say that officially.
Sure.
You know how that one is. But I think he will end up at Aston Martin. Adrian knows Jonathan from his time at Red Bull, and Adrian found out that being a team principal is not as easy as he thought to be, and then he wants somebody who he knows he can control, and he knows Jonathan, and maybe Jonathan wasn't happy at Audi because of the structure there, being two bosses, and also I don't know how much he liked Switzerland. For him, it's the first time he lives outside of the UK. I think there was a few elements, and he was like, maybe, okay, I don't really like it here. I got another opportunity where I think I will like it because I know all the people. Let's try to do that one. And I don't know where they are right now with because he has left. But where Jonathan is good is having gardening leave, because he was, when he left Red Bull, how long was he on gardening leave? At least 6 months.
Yeah.
Now he's on gardening leave again. How long did he work at Audi? Not even a year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and it seemed like he was doing a really good job. I guess in the garden. Well, in the garden, and then on the table with what he grew in the garden. It seemed like Audi so far this year has had a decent showing. They're certainly not the Aston Martin or the Williams disaster classes that are happening over there. It seemed like a little bit of a just in terms of pure performance.
Their pit stops they couldn't even do a pit stop, and then all of a sudden Nico Hülkenberg gets a podium last year. He did turn that team around. I guess my question, what about Aston Martin looks so much more appealing to you than Audi at this point?
I think it's his relationship with Adrian, and also back in the UK. That I think are the main, Aston Martin keeps on changing people. How many team principals they had in the last 4 years? The only ones they didn't ask is S3E4, I think, to go there.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
And they're all kind of still around. They're just in different departments. There's all these locked rooms where team principals go to,
severance.
Look severed at files. Exactly.
No, but it's true. Andy Green, I think, is still there. Andy Green is a good technical guy in F1,
Mike Crack is still there, I think.
Mike Crack still works in the team, but he's not team principal anymore. Andy Cowell, I think he's
Cowell's
gone.
still there. He's still there. I think he's still there. I think
He's speaking with Honda. Maybe not the same language, but anyway, it doesn't seem to be working. Yeah.
Well, there's reports that they've made some adjustments at Aston Martin that should hopefully mitigate some of the trouble and the woes that they have had. Do you think that this break will, present a big opportunity for Aston Martin?
For sure, an opportunity. How big we need to find out, because it's nobody expected them to come to this season as ill prepared as they came, So, because they've got everything in place. They've got the people, they've got the facility, they've got the money. So there is no excuse for them to be in this position.
But they're building Batmobiles in the spare time. They can't even get their F1 car.
But that is all the people. That is all the people which were there and left there building the Batmobiles because they don't know what to do anymore. So I guess they're building Batmobiles now. The people which we said before.
Right.
Before we get to your predictions for Miami or gas or brake, we need to talk to you about this story, Guenther. Italy's coming for their money.
They need to
a lot of these drivers and teams, they owe Italy some money and they're coming for it. This report of back taxes, which the Italian government is saying is owed to them from the time served, time worked on Italian soil for the last, I think, 6 years. I think it's from 2020 up until now. What are your thoughts on this situation, Guenther? You're an Italian. You've had to pay plenty of Italian taxes in your day. Are they knocking on your door, Guenther? Or is this just these F1 drivers that need to be worried?
No, they're not worried about me. I haven't got enough money to pay them. So, but this comes like a surprise, which is not. It's withholding tax. Every country, a lot of countries, asking for withholding taxes. If you make your earnings in a different country, you need to pay a tax there because that is where you made the money and you owe the people some tax. I think Australia is doing it, the UK is doing it. There is quite a few places. Nobody likes to pay taxes, or very few people. Never say nobody, but now Italy just says we want some tax as well. There was at one stage, we actually as a team had to pay taxes in France for the mechanics, because they were part of their income came when they were working in France, and on that amount of income, somebody had to pay taxes and we paid it. But then I think they found out that it was too difficult to get very little money from us, and they stopped doing it in France. But it's nothing unusual that countries come for withholding taxes, and I don't think anybody's surprised. I think the strange thing is to come for taxes from 5 years ago. Why you didn't tell us 5 years ago that you want withholding tax? Because some of the drivers are not around anymore, not in Formula One anymore, and now they're asked to pay money for something they did 5 years ago.
So you don't think this was you think this was a miscommunication, not like certain people purposefully skirting the system?
No, nobody's skirting it. No, this was just like they didn't ask, and now for sure, I guess some Italian politician wants to make himself prominent. And how do you do it? By asking F1 drivers to pay taxes, and everybody will look at this person and this is a good thing for Italy. We get more money, So it's attention seeking as well. But otherwise, I don't think anybody's intentionally. If you're not asked to pay a tax. If you ever asked, should I pay tax somewhere? I don't know. I don't know nobody which asks, excuse me, I asked the IRS if I need to pay tax. No, the IRS tells you when you need to pay tax. You don't ask them,
Right. It is April. We've all just had to do that. And it was, it didn't feel good.
No, I didn't feel good after doing that one. No, I did it as well,
That's right. All right. Okay. It's a nothing burger.
How many countries have you had to pay tax in it? Like, what's the most amount of countries that you've had to pay taxes in a year?
No, I had last year, because I did events in the UK and I did events in Australia. I had to pay taxes there.
But what about as in Formula One?
No, in Formula One, as a team principal, you don't make enough money to pay taxes in different countries. And,
Really?
and I'm
yeah,
not,
you guys are poor. Oh no.
but normally, it's more the people like the performers, which are the drivers involved in F1, which need to pay it. Yeah,
I think that was part of it. So they're like hired as contractors, so that's why it was like where they perform. They, they're on the hook for the cash.
Oh, it doesn't.
So we're not going to expect.
So why did it apply to mechanics then? If they're all on if you guys are on salary,
but I said they did it for 1 year, and then did it for 2 years. Then it was gone because it was very little.
I got it.
Yeah, they want that Charles Leclerc money. That's what they want. They want that Lewis Hamilton money. That's what want the money.
How good will that go over in Italy if they take Charles Leclerc to Italian court? I don't think it'll go over well politically.
I don't think it will go to court. I mean, they will tell them how much tax they have to pay, and the drivers will pay. Right. I don't think they need to go to court.
Hasn't Italy put Charles Leclerc through enough?
Yeah, Italy owes Charles Leclerc some cash.
Italy owes Charles Leclerc money for therapy.
A couple of WDCs that have passed by. The Max Verstappen dominance is owed to Charles Leclerc. Okay. Before we get to your Miami predictions, let's do our favorite segment, Gas or Break.
Ferrari will suffer the most from regulation changes.
Break. They will suffer as much as the other ones. None. Everybody will make progress, not suffer. So there will be no, we'll be fine.
I'm going gas. They don't seem to be able to develop in season. You give them enough time to think about anything,
and they fuck it up,
and they manage to fuck it up. So I'm going gas. It's like when you ask for an extension in school, and then you still late. It's like, I gave you a fucking they got a fucking extension, and they're still gonna fuck it up.
Are you talking for yourself here? That's what you did at school.
Yes, and I see myself in them.
Okay, you see yourself in red. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going I'm going gas only in that I worry that now these starts will be safer. But it means that these other teams will have figured out how to do the starts. And that's really where they've been able to excel, because we know that they can't hold pace with the Mercedes. But, where they were able to kind of make up ground was by getting track position at the start of every race. So I'm doing a slight gas on my worry there. Next prompt.
Kimi will extend his lead in the WDC standing after Miami.
Break. Josh will be back in Miami. Josh will be back in Miami, yeah. Josh has seen enough now. Josh now realizes, I need to pull my socks up, and pants, and to win the championship, yeah.
I'm going gas. I don't know if you remember a certain Kimi Antonelli. I think where did he get pole last year? Did he get pole in Miami?
He got pole, I think, in the
sprint
pole.
He
did get pole.
He got pole.
I think he got double pole, maybe. Did he get double pole? Let's look that up. In sprint qualifying, he got pole.
Yeah.
And then in the actual qualifying, he got third.
Where did George get?
George got fifth.
Okay.
So he out-qualified George twice in Miami last year.
Okay, so I'm going gas. This is straight off the top from memory, okay? Because we're cutting the other shit. Straight up, I'm going gas, straight off the top. I remember that Kimi got pole in the sprint race in Miami, beating George out, and then he got third in the race qualifying, and George got fifth. So he out-qualified George in both qualifying sessions. And he had a very uneven season last year, but he did really well in Miami qualifying wise. I think he out-qualifies George and he goes ahead to beat him. So I think Kimi gains on him. And I think George is machinating. He's thinking, he's overthinking all this time off. He's like, oh no, I'm down in the championship. Too much time to marinate in those terrible feelings. I think Kimi extends his lead. That's what I think.
You've got some fantastic memory, you know that.
I am going gas as well. We saw Kimi Antonelli last year after his qualifying pole. He was wearing all green. He's a Miami. The weather suits him. George, he likes the cold. He's a Brit. Kimi, he's an Italian. He likes the heat of Miami is going to do well for him. I think that he's going to extend that lead. I think that Kimi Antonelli is going to take the fight to one George Russell this season, and it's going to continue in Miami. Next prompt.
Even after regulation changes, Mercedes will still clean up in Miami.
Full gas. Full gas. It's just like they got an advantage and they are smart enough to keep it, So I've got full confidence in Toto's team.
I'm going gas, unfortunately. I think they're going to hold on for a little bit longer, but I think McLaren's coming. I think they're coming.
Yeah, I'm going gas as well, but I think Miami, not Miami. I think Miami, they continue, but I think that McLaren, what we saw, I was going to say last week, what we saw in the last race, they're starting to figure their shit out, but it's going to take a little bit longer. But yeah, I think that Mercedes will still be looking nice and pretty in the Miami streets. Next, Max
will get a podium in Miami.
Break, just stop it, He will not be on the podium in Miami, no.
I hate to agree with Guenther.
Come on, give people hope.
They will not be on the podium.
You know what? Huge upgrade. Why not? Full gas. Why not? Fuck it. They got a new car. Their engine's apparently pretty good. All the stuff that they accused Mercedes of doing,
they did as well.
They did as well. Apparently, they're not going to get any of these fucking tokens. It's just their chassis that they're bringing up to speed because they've learned that downforce doesn't matter anymore. So I'm going gas. Why not? Max on the podium.
I think he'll improve, but I don't think he's making a podium. I'm going break there. I think it's not quite enough there, and there's too many good ones, good teams doing their thing. So he's not going to get it there, but I think they'll get it together by the end of the year. Before we move on to your podium predictions for Miami, what do you think of the thought or the kind of rumors out there that Ferrari might do a little bit of sandbagging at some points to get some of these little engine tokens? There's that if some of the teams are, if the differential between the engines are too great, then some of these teams might get a little boost. Do you think that there's any fuel to that fire?
No, I don't believe that anybody would be somebody. It's the same like, when the aero wrecks are, if you are further back in the Constructors' Championship, you get more wind tunnel time. You just cannot do that. I mean, you can do it, but you hurt yourself more than the advantage you've got, So, no, I do not believe in that one. That is, again, what you call this conspiracy theorists, conspiracy.
Yeah.
No,
that's right.
I mean, so you were never, when you were running like in the back.
We were last anyway, so we had all the concessions you wanted, So,
you were never like, oh my.
Wait. I never had to put effort in to go slow. It came on its own, So just to clarify
naturally,
like
when you throw a baby into the pool and it just figures out how to float. It's just like that. Found a way. It's just
to be slow. Yeah,
just basic instinct.
But Guenther, when you were running in last, was there no part of you that was rubbing your hands together, being like? Think about all the time in the wind tunnel.
No. The big last, there is nothing good at it. I can tell you that much.
You weren't strutting past Christian Horner, being like, "I got twice the amount of wind tunnel as you."
How cool is that?
Bitch.
How cool is that? You know how many people care about how much you're in the wind tunnel? No one.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Just to put your... No, it doesn't work.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's get to our Miami predictions. But Guenther, before we do that, we have an announcement, which is that we've got some new Guenther Steiner Miami merch that is available right now. It's going to be on the screen right here. What do you think of the new merch, Guenther?
I mean, it's the best, huh? I mean, what else can I think? You know, we have Vox as a new partner. We have got new merch. What else? The only thing old here is S3.
Yeah.
I'm old in age as well. You know. So.
And if you didn't like them, would you say?
If you didn't
like the shirt,
I would
just like
ask
Stefano.
I would ask Stefano. I would say, hey, Stefano, how can I tell people I don't like this, but I need to tell them I like it? You know, I mean, why would I say that? You know, it's the best. It's the best ever. It's the best ever now. You know, the best T-shirt.
That's right. Well, you look unbelievably cool, you know, Guenther Weiss.
And handsome.
Handsome, cool. You got the wheel guns in your hand. I mean, you are a Miami guy, Guenther. You're the king of Miami.
I wish I was the king of Miami, you know, but hey, you know, I can still dream, you know. So yeah, I will be the king of Miami, you know.
Clavicular wishes that he had your jawline, Guenther. That's all I gotta say. Do you know what anything that I just said means?
And that head of hair at your age, Jesus
That's
Christ.
Right.
Why am I old?
No, we're saying you look great.
Okay, but at your age.
Oh, he said your hairline at your age.
Yeah, because he is again pointing to me that I'm an old guy. You know, Matt.
Well, you have the hairline of a 12-year-old. So
of a newborn.
So
that's right. That's right. You're looking great, and you're going to be looking even better.
Do you know who Clavicular is, Guenther?
No, who's he?
He's the guy who smashes his face with a hammer and takes amphetamines to stay thin. Ask your daughter who Clavicular is.
I will.
Okay.
And tell him that you're going to frame mog her.
Your hair maxing and hair mogging everybody and jaw.
Right. And if you want to be look maxing on the street, get the merch right now. Link is in the bio. Link is in the description. Get it now. Okay, the Miami GP is upon us. Guenther, give us your predictions. What's your podium?
George, Kimi, Oscar.
Well, I fucked myself by saying Max was going to get a podium. Yeah. So
you will not score any points. You wanted to be. Yeah.
I was saying Kimi, George, Max.
And I'm saying Kimi, George, Lando Norris, baby. Lando Norris. Oscar had a good race. What was the last race? Japan. Oscar had a great race in Japan. I think that Lando comes back to where he got his first win in Formula One. He loves Miami. He's going to be partying, and that's Lando at his best. Right now, the standings are Guenther, you got 15. Matt, you have 6. I have 6 as well. Let's do the comeback and let it start in Miami, maybe just like for McLaren. And
I never
right now,
say this of our standings, you know.
That's right. And we're Ferrari / McLaren, just hoping to make our way and make this thing a championship fight. Guenther, do you think that we can get back to just talking about the racing and that this season's going to be good? Can you give us some hope? Because this year has been so chaotic. All we've been doing is talk about the regs, how horrible everything is. Do you think we're going to have a good season on our hands?
Yeah, I mean, don't overthink the regs. Look, I mean, the racing was not bad, you know. I mean, in the end, you know, it's like, okay, but there's work to be done. I think we will be back to be, everything will normalize again. Be confident.
That's right.
Okay.
Do not despair, people.
Faith. Exactly.
Do not despair.
You know, don't be a naysayer, you know. Oh, this is terrible. You know, be Stefano. Everything is fantastic.
A yay sayer.
There's a middle ground, Guenther, in between everything is perfect and everything is horrible. Let's all find that middle ground together. Everyone's been very loud about it. We've heard everyone. People are mad. Everything's perfect. The truth lies betwixt, and we will be the people leading that charge to hear about everyone, because at the end of the day, gentlemen, what are we? Thought leaders.
Wankers.
Wankers. I was going to say wankers.
That's exactly. Right. So we're wankers at the end of the day. This is Vankah Hours, brought to you by Vox Media.
Vox.
We will see you after Miami.
Goodbye, wankers.
Bye, Vankah.
See you later, Vegas.